Hello from Radically Rational. I am a huge fan of Jalen Rose. Jalen Rose, the former Fab Fiver, the star at Michigan, the NBA star, and now a pundit at ESPN. I love Jalen Rose. And Jalen Rose has one of my favorite terms to describe miscreants. He calls them habitual line steppers. Donald Trump is the original habitual line stepper. Now we know what we know. All this stuff about, oh, you didn't have to conduct that search, there are other ways to get the documents, just bald-faced lies. Here's what we know. Last January, 100 documents, 700 words, 15 boxes removed from Mar-a-Lago, and the National Archives were so concerned that they asked the FBI to conduct a security check because many of these documents carried the highest level of secret and classification. And that is an entirely separate incident, an episode from what went on at Mar-a-Lago back on August 8th. So this idea there were other ways to do it, all those other ways had been completely exhausted. And these negotiations with Team Trump had been going on since January at least. These folks are just not telling the truth. And Representative Crenshaw, you are particularly heinous and a particular habitual line stepper when it comes to lying. Okay. So, interesting things going on politically. Now, let me concede straight up. The GOP is going to take the House in the midterm election in November. Yes, BB, they are. Now, here's the thing. It may not be the landslide that everybody was anticipating, and we may be seeing the beginnings of a blue wave here. And the other thing, this horse has left the barn. They're not going to get the Senate. They had a chance to get the Senate, and they blew it, as even the turtle knows. Bad candidates, bad ideas, empty barrel cultural warriors, and it's gonna bite them. And maybe part of this is the Dems are finally getting smart. And I think the primaries last night in Florida and New York reflected that. The Dems are now moving away from nominating fringe fire breathers who scare the hell out of the majority of the electorate, whether it's warranted or not. You want to win, or do you not want to win? Okay, this was a really good thing. Charlie Crist, the Democrat nominee for governor in Florida, this is inspired, and a lot of people are missing the point. I'm hearing him criticized. Well, he's a former Republican. Dang, that's the whole damn point. Isn't the idea here to create as many former Republicans as possible? This guy makes sense. He connects with Florida. Is he going to beat DeSantis? No, probably not. But he's going to make Ron DeSantis very uncomfortable, and he's going to provide a viable option for rational Floridians. And no, this is not the same thing that's going on with Beto in Texas. Charlie Crist, pay attention to his message. He could have a lot to do with this. And we're talking about this blue wave. Okay, row, row, row your boat. ROE. The law of unintended consequences. Thank you, SCOTUS. You have pissed off 55% of our population and the people who love them. This is going to get really interesting. Before I forget, Ukraine, we're with you. On the sports side, this was cool. Last night, Yordan Alvarez's father, mother, and brother got to see him play in a professional baseball game for the very first time. And I think that is absolutely way cool. ESPN has released their 1 through 32 power rankings because, again, it's a cheap trick. It's kind of what you do. They got the Bills first. I think that makes sense. They got the Cowboys about 10th, which I think is about right. And they got the Texans 31st, which just makes me very uncomfortable. But I think they're underrating, for example, a couple of teams like the Steelers and the Saints. And finally, I'm just so grateful and relieved to know that Nick Saban is once again the highest paid coach in college football, because after all, inflation is eating all of us up. Have a great Wednesday. We are radically rational.